Hi, welcome to this Forbes India webinar on the future of work in association with Embassy Industrial Parks. Over the course of our careers, the nature of jobs that we do and the manner in which we do them have changed a fair bit. While our workplaces have become more efficient, they've also become more demanding. And many times the work we do is very different from what our parents would do. To discuss the future of work, I have with me a panel that comprises Mr. Vijay Mansukhani, who's the owner and MD at Merck Electronics. They're the makers of Oneida televisions, which a lot of you may know. I also have with me Mr. Anshul Singhal, who's the CEO of Embassy Industrial Parks. And joining us from Bangalore is Mr. Abhinay Chaudhary, who's a co-founder at Big Basket. So, we have a panel where the three panelists have work in very diverse companies, and each of them would look at the future of work very differently. Anshul, you set a company up from the ground, and so in many ways you could start with a culture that you wanted as the MD. How did you go about doing that, and what do you see as the future of work in your field or in your company?
So I completely agree with Mr. Mansukhani and what he said, and I think he put it very nicely. For me, that part was easy. I think our chairman has set a very good culture at Embassy Group. And it was, and I come from the professional side now,
right?
So I can answer that question. And he has set such strong culture within the company that it was very easy for me to take that culture forward and pass it down the line into my team that I set up from scratch. For me, the future of work is also professional teams. And in fact, he stole the answer right out of my mouth. So yes, technology is important. Decentralization of power is important, and if you want to run a professionally driven business, it's important that professionals down the line, not just the CEO, but everybody feels empowered, and they are empowered to take decisions. This is important because anybody who's intelligent and anybody who's smart coming out of a B school or a graduate program or an engineering program today wants to feel understood, wants to feel like he's contributing to the company. So along with culture, I would say empowerment and an ecosystem which you can create within the company that automatically makes the company and the business scalable.
Right.
So I'll limit it down. So it's culture, which is what Sir said. Right. It's empowerment and decentralization, along with good set of systems and processes, backed by very strong professional teams who feel like they're owners of a business. And I think that's the future of work.
Right. So you answered that from the standpoint of a professional, and you've sort of laid down the contours of what you believe should be the future of work, or the manner in which teams should be built, etc., etc.
Yes, yes.
Essentially empower the professional. Is that right?
Absolutely.
If I understood that correctly.
Yes.
I'd like to ask you, when you set up a company or when you set up a business, initially it's the CEO, the MD who has to wear a lot of hats, and he has to be the finance person, he has to be the marketing person. He really has to do a lot of things, and as your team grows, you can then start delegating it out. What was your experience in terms of setting up the business, and would you have any learnings as to how it could be done differently for other companies, and how is that going to change in the future, if at all? Any thoughts on that?
Absolutely, a lot of thoughts on that. So firstly on co-working, I think it's a great topic to pick up. So co-working spaces are definitely the future.
Okay.
I think co-working spaces bring out a lot of flexibility in terms of both existing teams when they suddenly grow, and you don't need to take up a large office space initially because you don't know how your business is growing, even if it's an existing business or a new business from scratch. So for example, Embassy Industrial Parks completely operates out of co-working spaces, right?
Even today?
Even today. Okay. So we are in Bombay at WeWork, we're in Bangalore at WeWork, we're everywhere in WeWork. So co-working is great. I have not had a major challenge in maintaining our company culture in a co-working space. I think that's down to the individual company. It's a lot of fun working out of co-working spaces, and I think we're able to attract younger professionals. We're able to attract more good quality people working for us. Adding to that, starting a business, every business is a new journey. This is the third business that I'm starting. So I started 4 years ago. And of course, when we formed the company, when we started the company, the idea was very simple. It was we wanted to build A-grade warehouses across India. We wanted to buy clean, compliant land. We wanted to ensure that whatever we do is above board. We wanted to provide the best solution for our customers so we get repeat customers, which is what's been happening. And if you have the business vision correct, and if you have your business principles correct, everything else is secondary. So building a team just revolves around what your business strategy is. And our business strategy from day one was pan-India. We wanted to go pan-India. So we built a pan-India team from scratch, from ground up. It's a fantastic team, fairly decentralized, heavily empowered, and they're moving forward very strongly. So the learnings of setting up this business, which we've had, is actually passed down from Embassy Group. And Embassy Group always believes, again, I'm back to empowerment, I'm back to decentralization and professionalization, and a lot of transparency and MIS. So that's what we learned setting up this business. It's been a great journey, and I'm sure the business is moving forward very well, and we'll keep learning as we move along.
Anything you would have done differently, or it's still work in progress?
I think anybody can be wise in hindsight, and there's probably a lot of things we could do differently now, or could have done differently now. But currently, the way the business is working, I think the proof is in the pudding.
Sure.
We are already the second largest platform in India in a very short span of time, within 4 years. Pretty happy with what we've achieved.
Do you work with the people who rent warehouse space from you? Do you take them through how they can automate, how they can stack more effectively? Do you work with them on things like that? How do you use?
So our business is fairly different. So it's, what we do is what we do really well is three things: we buy, build, and lease. So we buy land effectively, and we're very good at that, and we can buy large parcels of land fairly quickly, cleanly, and effectively. We build warehouses fast, probably the fastest and the most cost-effective in the country, grade A warehouses, and we lease and operate, like we manage, asset manage it. Now, in all these 3 or 4 areas, what we have been able to do is automate every step as far as possible. So in buying land, we used to, there's something called you survey a land. So back in the day, or back not up to 2 years ago, we used to do physical surveys. Today you have drones doing that for you. So we have drone surveys. So you literally fly a drone across the piece of land, geotag it with Google Maps, and you get a fairly accurate drone survey. We also have, and then when you move on to construction, we use BIM technology to basically analyze land development costs for us. Now, this is something you'd need 20 engineers doing it for 15 days, and you get a result. Now a BIM software can give us that result in 5 days. And again, during construction, we use BIM and drone to manage the construction quality. So what it ends up doing, it ends up ensuring there are no clashes in construction. Our planning is all automatic. So we use very good softwares to plan our construction activities. Now this is important because ultimately our end business is to deliver the product or the warehouse to an Oneida or a Big Basket on time, on spec, on budget, and on quality. And if you use the right kind of tech to integrate with your real estate solution, we've seen it's fantastic. And the way to do this is, hire young people. So we get a lot of young people into the business. I'm 36, so I can tell you that for sure. But we hire a lot of young people into the business to make sure that we're able to bring in these solutions. Now, further, what we do is we always have the basics. So we have Salesforce in, we have SAP in. So we make sure that no lead is missed out. It's not a person-dependent business, it's a process-driven business. You can post an inquiry to our business on a website. So you go on to embassyindustrialparks.com, you post an inquiry, and it comes to a guy who's responsible for that region. Now, if he misses that, there is an automatic escalation to somebody else. So the customer would get responded to no matter what. So that part is automated, right? And then, of course, we have basic systems like SAP and other compliance checks in place. So as a newly formed, no longer so new, it's 4.5, 5 years old, but business, we are fairly process driven and automated to where we can do it. Our business at the moment does not demand any automation in terms of robotics or artificial intelligence. But I'll tell you this, that the minute we can find a solution, we'll be the first ones to do it because we really like this stuff.
Anshul, yours is a young company, so my sense is you need more specialists initially. Is that right?
My view is a little, I wouldn't use the word diplomatic, but it's a little mixed. So specialists are very important. Now, but if you break a company down into departments and segments of a company, it really depends. As a business, you specialize in an area. So obviously you need skill sets in any area in all areas of your business which are special. So if, for example, for us, it's project management, leasing, buying land, analyzing a deal, etc., etc. So for each area, we have very good specialists in place. But the leaders of each department, the heads of departments, I'd like to call them mini CEOs, right? who need to have a specialist experience with a generalist mindset. Because if the mindset is super specialized every time, then you are now not thinking out of the box, and you're always thinking very technical and specific, and you kind of tend to get narrow-minded. But if the department heads are specialists with a generalist mindset, what it allows them to do is expand their thinking and look at, because business is dynamic, you know, there's no fixed way, every day is a new day, you know, and if and you wake up in the morning and it's not a new day, you'd probably get worried, why didn't something go wrong today? So basically these guys need to be nimble and flexible to be able to take decisions outside of their area. So my view is, yes, specialists is obvious. You need specialists in every business, and so we have specialists in each area of our business. But I think that at least the leaders at the first line, the second line of the company need to have specialist experience, technically strong, but at the same time have a generalist mindset to be able to manage a team, build a team, look at the softer aspects of human touch while managing a team, and also look at the softer aspects of externally managing relationships. And that comes a little bit with the generalist mindset. So I think it's a blend which will continue to grow as we move forward.
Right. Anshul, are there any regulations you've run up against? I mean, you could have a far more futuristic company, but you're held back because of regulation.
Oh, no, not at all. In fact, I think in our particular space, the government has been super proactive. Like since GST, like our whole business is warehousing. And since GST, the government has made some very quick changes. So every state now has a logistics policy, right? Which clearly defines everything from land buying to construction to leasing. The process of land buying has become very transparent in the last, I would say, 18 months. The approval process for us, because what we effectively do is we would buy land and get approvals, and the approval process, the regulatory framework that's come in all states across India, and I would say all states, for the logistics and warehousing business is very clear. I mean, there's no confusion in there. So, I mean, that's a fresh change for us, because as developers, there's always gray areas, but at least as far as warehousing and logistics is concerned, it's not classified as real estate, it's classified as infrastructure. So we come into the infrastructure category. That's been another boost up for us, because the minute we got classified as infrastructure category, debt raising became easy for us. So there's been a lot of support. You start from Make in India, you go to GST, you go to manufacturing, you go to policy at a state level, you go to micro level policies. We've been, I think, quite blessed for the last, I would say, 24 months, where the government has literally parallelly, knowingly and sometimes unknowingly worked in our favor to promote this sector, and which is why this sector is today, you know, probably the hottest sector in industrial real estate, which is the #1 sector in India today. Right. So we've been lucky. We've seen the government evolve. Very friendly attitude, very quick responses. They're able to understand the nuances of our business and help wherever required. So honestly, I have no complaints, and I don't think there's much to add right now. If they just continue down this road, I'd be very happy.
Right, right. On skilling and learning, you know, that's another very core part of the manner in which our workplace is going to evolve. And you need to skill employees through the course of their careers. You know, you don't enter with one degree and leave the organization getting, I mean, without another degree. So how, as a young company, how do you look at retraining your employees, skilling your employees while they're working, and fostering that culture of learning within the company? Any thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on that, given that you're a young company?
Absolutely. So I mean, I think skill training, there are two types now. There are soft skills, and then there's specialized skills. Specialized skill trainings are fairly straightforward. So, you know, we have a very good training program at all levels, you know, whether it's as simple as learning Microsoft Excel, or whether it's as simple as managerial training. Then there's more complex types of trainings that we take up. So that depends from department to department. But I believe that I've seen that every month our HR department always organizes really well, you know, finds very well selected faculty to train our employees. We also have internal training programs where we train each other. So what we'd like to do is in the company, department should be able to cross-function. It should not just be one department works in a silo. So what we managed to do is train employees within a department to another department. So one department appreciates a lot more what the other is doing, and they kind of treat each other like internal customers. Training is, we have everything from etiquette training to dress code training. I think Embassy Group is one of the very rare groups in India which emphasizes so hard on training that anybody who joins us, and leaves us, where very few people leave us, but a few years later they find themselves a completely different person. They find themselves a better version of themselves. They're more confident, they're more clear, they think better, they use technology. So yeah, I think training is a big part of our business, and it's again something that we've just inherited from the culture, and it's been so automatic. Our chairman is very forward thinking when it comes to things like that. He believes in young management, and the proof is in the pudding again.
How do you incentivize employees to retrain themselves while on the job?
I'd like to also add to that. So, one of the important things about motivation is there's no bigger motivator than success. Right? Success is the number one motivator.
Right.
So, if you train yourself to doing something different than what you have been doing, and then you succeed at your end objective or task, you're automatically motivated to keep training yourself and keep growing. I mean, life is an endless journey where you keep learning and improving yourself. So I think that's again back to what Mr. Mansukhani said, is the culture. If you set up a training culture within an organization and prove to your colleagues how successful that can be for you as an individual, it's automatic. It just carries on.
Right. Let's have one final question, and let's make this a bit of a personal question. How have you reskilled yourself over the X number of years that you've been working? What are the various things you've done to reskill yourself, and how do you see yourself or your job evolving and you reskilling yourself over the next decade or so?
So I'll be open about this. I think it's more our chairman who's rescaled me, and
sure. So how has he done it?
So help me, get the best version of ourselves. So I think it started with a lot of. It always starts from the top, right? Rescaling starts from the top. So if I get trusted, I pass trust down the line. If I get empowered, I pass empowerment down the line. So if I'm allowed to train myself, I allow others to train themselves. So for a professional, it's again been back to our embassy culture. It's a very it's a culture that is so strong in its transparency, empowerment, and flexibility that for me personally, because you've asked a personal question, I think being part of the group has given me the opportunity to retrain myself, to sharpen my business skills, to sharpen my managerial skills, to sharpen my financial skills, and at the same time, the biggest learning has been to buy land very quickly. So I think the biggest learning that I have now is across India, any state, the confidence to go set up a brand new team very quickly and buy land, and then get it operational, get it approved, get it to leasing, and then and exit that asset from a construction standpoint quickly, has been a great confidence booster. But yes, it's down to the culture of the organization, which has enabled a rescaling culture, if you'd so like, is you train yourself and you grow, and it's a very trusting culture, and I think that trust is very important, bottom up or top down, to ensure that people feel that even if you make mistakes, it's okay, it's fine, it's normal to make mistakes and move on. So, and of course everybody makes mistakes. Anybody who tells you doesn't make mistakes is lying.
Right.
So yeah, that's it for me.
Right. On that note, we've come to the end of this discussion. Thank you for joining us for this discussion on the future of work in association with Embassy Industrial Parks. We hope you join us for future discussions, details of which will be posted on our Facebook page. From us at Forbes India, thank you very much.